Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you can hear me okay. Is my mic in a good spot? Sorry, I was game streaming, and I always move it the fuck around, and probably just deafen some of you with doing that. I hope you're having a great day. What is this, Thursday? It's debate night, you guys. It's time for the two candidates to finally go face-to-face again to talk about the same shit they talked about in the first debate. And I can't wait because it's going to be a grown-up debate, you guys. They're going to have muting so that people can hear the real answers and stuff. I fucking hate it. I hate what they're doing to this debate. My ideal debate is kind of what Chris Wallace said he was going to do. Ask a question. Each candidate gets 2 minutes to answer, and then a free-for-all. And that would be great. I'm fine with that. The problem is, the media lies. The media lies about it, and people are like, oh my God, Trump was so mean. He kept interrupting. Not one goddamn news article that I saw pointed out that Biden did it first. Not a single fucking one. And they won't do it this time either. But if they start to interrupt, then, or if they're, whoops, sorry, I just dropped my phone. If they interrupt, they will be cut off. They'll be muted so they can't say what they want to say. It's not going to stop them from saying what they're going to say. It's just going to be quieter. The other candidate will still hear it. They'll be right next to them. But I don't know. Maybe they'll put them in soundproof cages or some shit so that Biden can lie or just absolutely dodge questions. Did you guys notice that in the last debate, that wasn't a thing? Joe Biden was dodging questions. He did it a couple of times. Flat out told him, I'm not going to answer that to a question. And they're like, oh, all right. All right, Chris Wallace saved his ass. All right, time to move on to a new topic. The next day, the headlines weren't Joe Biden, giant pussy, won't ask questions, or anything similar to that. But, is what it is, I guess. So we'll have the debate tonight, and we'll see what happens with it. I hope it's interesting. I hope it's I just have a feeling that's going to be boring as shit if they're just muting people left and right because they talk, Just let them go for it. In chat, there's some people who are wondering about when I said I'd be here in about 8 minutes. I went to type it in. I was like, I could tell them 5. I could tell them 10. I'm like, fuck it. Let's just pick 8. Because nobody does that. It wasn't oddly specific. It was oddly random, believe it or not. 5 and 10, I think, is a little bit more specific. People, I'll be back in 10 minutes. How many people are ever back in 10 minutes? So yeah, I'm just like, fuck it, let's do 8. Anyway, nah, it wasn't oddly random. He was up to something. No, I went to do things on the Phasmophobia stream, which ran 4 hours, which was a lot of fun. And I don't know if I'm going to do a second game stream, like I said, guys, because that one went 4 hours. I will probably go to sleep when we're done here. And then hopefully wake up early enough to do a game stream before the show tomorrow. But I was doing stuff on there, and then I made the mistake of going over to Twitter and seeing somebody lie about me again. So I had to answer that real quick. And then I was like, oh shit, I have nothing ready, even though I already set up the stream. And once I set it up, if I don't tell it, I'm going to do it later, then it tells you it's live now, even though I'm really not. But yeah, I just get distracted sometimes, guys. Sometimes I'm just easily distracted. Let's see. Should we go ahead and talk about the main topic? Should we talk about the main topic? Do y'all want to hear me swear a lot? Read an article tonight on Lords of the Night, part of the MSS News part. There's stuff that was sent in. It's an article from the AP. I read a paragraph of it before I got pissed off, and did I even read a whole paragraph? I'm not sure, but it pissed me to fuck off. And we're going to read it now. It is from the AP regarding Antifa. AP finds most arrested in protests aren't leftist radicals. Now, I should have been pissed off just by the title because I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. This is more bullshit of the media covering for these shitbag Antifa fucks. These violent fucking asshole commie motherfuckers who are out there burning down cities. And the press, for some reason, is covering for them. Now, you can have your opinion of why they're doing it. It doesn't matter because they're doing it. Here, and this is how the AP is doing it as of when did this fucking garbage ass article came out? October 20th, written by Alana Durkin-Richer, Colleen Long, and Michael Balsamo. There we go. Blasmo. I knew that didn't sound like that word looked. President Donald Trump portrays portrays hundreds of people arrested nationwide in protest against radical injustice as violent urban left-wing radicals. But an Associated Press review of thousands of pages of court documents tells a different story. That's where I got really pissed off. A review of court documents. Well, which court documents? Which court documents? Because a lot of these cases get thrown out. They just get thrown out completely. Were you reviewing that, or are you just reviewing ones that actually got charged? Because I'm betting I know the answer to that. And not going for the ones who were arrested, not actually reviewing arrest reports. Because I want to read that again. AP finds most arrested in protest aren't leftist radicals. We read court reports. We read court documents. Well, which ones? Which ones, you shitbags? Very few of those charged appear to be affiliated with highly organized extremist groups, and many are young, suburban adults from the very neighborhoods Trump vows to protect from the violence in his re-election push to win support from the suburbs. They're suburb kids. They're little middle class and upper middle class shitheads living off mommy and daddy. You guys have heard us say that for months now. Months. Sometimes years if you listen back to the old Antifa stuff, if you were around when we talked about them last time they were doing this stupid shit. That's not news that they come from those areas. But that doesn't mean those people specifically support the president. Like, well, their parents support the president. And you know what? It's not even that the parents support the president. It's that, did you catch what they did there? Did you catch it? Let me read that again. And many are young suburban adults from the very neighborhoods Trump vows to protect. They don't even say Trump won these neighborhoods. They don't even say that. It's that Trump vows to protect. Okay. So they're destroying their own cities. Yes, we know. You know what you just proved? That it's not outsiders coming in to do it. Thank you for that, by the way. I know that's not what you meant to do, but it's not outside agitators. It's from there, you dumb motherfucker. Attorney General William Barr has urged his prosecutors to bring federal charges on protesters who caused violence and suggested that rarely used sedition charges could apply, because they should. And the Department of Justice has pushed for detention even as prisons across the U.S. were releasing high-risk inmates because of COVID-19, and prosecutors have been told to consider the risk of incarceration during the pandemic when seeking detention. We're talking about traitors, insurrectionists, people who are literally burning down the city and calling for the end of the United States. But guys, COVID. I give two fucks if these assholes end up in prison and get COVID. I really do. I don't give a fuck. I said 2. I was wrong. I give 0. Fuck them. Defense attorneys and civil rights activists are questioning why the Department of Justice has taken on cases to begin with. Well, let me answer that for you. Since you asked those guys and they're fucking clueless. Because most of these cases just go away. Just go away. The prosecutor in fucking Portland, the hottest bed of this shit, where they've had protests for over 4 months straight, came out and said they would not prosecute these guys on most cases. The cases that they would consider it would be if there was violence against a police officer, and even then they would be highly critical of the arrest. Now, why in the ever-loving fuck would the federal government come in and want federal charges against these shitheads when the state's not doing their fucking job to protect their people? That's a thinker, you fucking morons. They say most belong in state court. Yes, exactly. They do. The problem is the state court is like, nah, fuck them. You can go. Where defendants typically get much lighter sentences. Well, here's an idea. If that's what you're looking for, maybe push for these DAs to not be cockbags and let these guys off for nothing when they're doing, violent, shitty behavior. These are violent people. They're violent. You know how lefties, man, they're so fucking weird. When it comes to the illegal aliens, have you guys noticed it's always, well, only violent offenders. When it comes to Antifa, they're like, they're just violent. It's all right. That's just arson. They just burned down somebody's business. That's no big deal. Why are you so mad about that? It's no big deal. Yeah. They change their mind depending on who they're defending, which shitbag criminals they're defending. They'll use whichever excuse they need. And they argue federal authorities appear to be cracking down on protesters in an effort to stymie demonstrations. Whew. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, who says, stop it, Monk. The truth is bigotry, remember? Oh, God. Yes, it is to stymie demonstrations. Not protests. Demonstrations of violence. They're out there being violent. I don't understand why we have a society right now that's like, rioting's cool. Yeah, rioting's fine. Like, look, man, they've actually made arguments. Hey, it's just a building. It's just property. Why do you think property should come before people? Well, because we're a nation built on the idea of private ownership. And when you destroy somebody else's property, you should be held accountable for that. That's why. Where did we lose you? Because if you don't agree with that, then there's a whole lot of places you could go that would be happy to have your stupid ass. Thank you, Frank Hubbard. Using facts, it's about morals, right? Yeah, I know. We're not. Too many people are concerned with facts. I'm interested in being morally right. How can you be morally right when you don't have the facts correct? Ain't that a bitch? For those of you who don't know, that was AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the rising star in the Democratic Party. That fucking idiot. She actually said that. And the media didn't give her any shit over it either. They were like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, she literally said it's okay to lie. Anyway. It's highly unusual and without precedent in recent American history, said Ron Kuby, a longtime attorney who isn't involved in the cases, but has represented scores of clients over the years in protest-related incidents. Protest-related incidents. Almost all of the conduct that is being charged is conduct that, when it occurs, is prosecuted at the state and local level, he continued. Yes. Where are these guys missing the fucking obvious? Yes, it should be prosecuted at the state and local level. The issue is that it's not, because reasons. The issue is that the state and local governments aren't doing their goddamn jobs. If they were, the feds wouldn't have to be involved. The feds weren't involved until it became clear that the fucking states weren't doing it. Not only were they not doing it, they were proudly not doing it. It's not like they hushed that fucking asshole from what's his name? The idiot prosecutor out there in Portland. He came out and issued a statement. Saying, yeah, we're not going to prosecute. Night after night after night, dozens, if not hundreds of people end up arrested, and none of them get charged with anything. None of them see a sentence because it's just all gone. Up in a puff of illegality smoke. It's almost like they enjoy these criminals. And I know it's wrong. I know I shouldn't think like this. But I would really love it if some of it came back on them. You know, instead of these shitbags destroying a federal building for a month. Where did DA work, man? Don't hurt anybody. I don't want anybody hurt. But if you're going to do that shit, why not go do it over there? Why not go do it over there? You hate the system, right? You punk ass bitches. Show it. Show you're actually against all this shit and not just pawns of the Democratic Party like you sometimes look. They won't. They won't because they have other targets in mind, like people. The same assholes are like, look, people are worth more than property. Will happily beat the ever-loving shit out of somebody or even kill them. We've seen both. Kill them in cold blood. You know, because justice. I think that's probably one of the most annoying things about it is that these assholes keep arguing that they're for justice. Even this article. The people arrested nationwide in protest against racial injustice. They're fighting for justice, you guys. By burning shit down, destroying stuff, occasionally killing people for justice. That's how you get justice, man. I just want to remind everybody once again, Antifa started in Germany in the early 1930s. Was it the 30s that they started? I want to say it was the 30s that they started. And by 32, they were working with the Nazis. That is fact. That is history. You can look that shit up. And anybody who tells you that's not right is a lying piece of shit. And when they do find that out and that they find out that they have no argument against that because it's fact, they come back with this. But this is a different Antifa. These aren't the same Antifa. Really. And if a group came up today calling themselves the Nazis, saying that they were Nazis, engaging in the same behavior as the Nazis, but they're like, hey, we're not those Nazis. Would anybody be okay with that? Behaving the exact same way, but like, hey, we're not those Nazis. Those would be all right with you folks? We know it wouldn't, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But it's okay when it's Antifa. And instead, they tell us lies about how they're not an organized group. They're not an organized group. Yes, they are. You dumb fuck. They even have uniforms and patches that they put on themselves. They have a fucking flag, you stupid sons of bitches. Frank, thank you. They would fight Nazis in the streets in the 1910s. Who would? If you're talking about Antifa, they weren't around then. Dark Resurrect, thank you. Remember, revolutionaries will be lined up. Oh, yeah. They don't talk about that part of it either. When the revolution finally does come, what happens to the revolutionaries? You have to get rid of the revolutionaries. You know why? Because they get ideas. They get ideas. And it becomes clear real quick that the people in charge when communism and this shit takes over are usually worse than whatever they were trying to get rid of. Usually worse than what they were trying to get rid of. Tsar Nicholas II was not a good man. He did not treat his people very well. And that's fucked up. But as bad as he treated people, it was nothing on Stalin, man. Jesus, fuck. Jesus. I don't know. I don't know how people can look at this history and ignore it so readily. Ranting Monkey, the history says they were an opposition German party, not that they were Nazis. Not that I doubt you, but where did you find the link? They were an opposition party to, oh God, who was it? The people that the Germans were against. Ah, shit. The name is escaping me right now. And in 1932, when Hitler was rising to power, they worked with the Nazis to put the Nazis in power. Where did I find that? I looked up origins of Antifa. It was the early 1930s. Yeah, that was wrong. Antifa was a communist organization that was against National Socials. They were aligned with the KDP from the start, which were heavily anti-National Socialist. At the KDP is the one who was taking over, right? The Antifa groups, the Antifa group, I forget the guy who founded it. The picture of him oddly looks like he should drive a milk truck or something. I don't know why that's what it stuck in my head when I was reading it. They were pushing communism in Germany, and yeah, look it up. They worked with them. They really did. They worked with the Nazis to put Hitler in power as a power play. Frank, thank you. The late 1920s and early 1930s saw rising tensions mainly between three broad groups: the Communist Party of Germany, the KDP on one side, and the Nazi Party. And I'm assuming this is going to go on. Thank you for that. Where is it? In one case, we're back to the story for a moment. In one case in Utah, where a police car was burned, federal prosecutors had to defend why they were bringing arson charges in federal court. They said it was appropriate because the patrol car was used in interstate commerce. Not to say that there hasn't been violence. Other police cars have been set on fire. Officers have been injured and blinded and killed. They didn't put that in there. Police officers have been killed. Windows have been smashed, stores looted, businesses destroyed. More than 300 arrested. There were about 286 defendants. Others had charges dropped. Some live in cities like Portland and Seattle, where local prosecutors declined to bring some protest-related charges. Some. This article pisses me off, if you haven't noticed. Bald Potato, thank you. Antifa and the Nazi Party started fighting, and the Nazis played it off for sympathy. They had more power they worked together until they had enough power to get full control, then backstab them like all socialists. Yeah. I'm not saying that Antifa stayed with them the whole time, because they had to go underground like pretty much everyone else. Because like all socialists, when you help them get to power, they get rid of the people who helped get them there, because those are the ones who are a threat to their power. The revolutionaries never get that until it's too late. Some of those facing charges undoubtedly share far left and anti-government views. Far-right protesters have also been arrested and charged. Some defendants have driven to protest from out of state. Some have criminal records and were illegally carrying weapons. Others are accused of using the protests as an opportunity to steal or create havoc. This is a dumbass article. It's a dumbass article that I don't know if these three idiots who wrote it took three morons to write this shit. Three of them. Yes, there have been right people, people on the right. I don't want to call them correct, so I want to be careful on how I say that. But not all of them have been far right. You have no proof that they're far right. You know what? You know who they're talking about when they say far right, right? Those Proud Boys. Those Proud Boys. How dare they? How dare those sons of bitches? They're far right because they don't like Antifa, which, by the way, isn't a real thing. Some have come from out of state. Yes. A lot of the left-wingers come from out of state. They're literally bussed in. We've seen the buses. We saw it during the Portland protests. The moms didn't all come from Portland. The mom wall? What the hell was that shit called? The wall of moms? Is that what it was? I can't remember. But many had no previous run-ins with the law and no apparent ties to Antifa, the umbrella term for leftist militant groups that Trump said he wants to declare a terrorist organization. An umbrella term for leftist militant groups. Okay. All right. Who are those groups? We've talked about this before. Antifa works like a terrorist group. They really do. They specifically don't have a tight hierarchy. They have cells, little groups of them who work together. They have a whole working plan. And no, it's not 1,000 people who are in Antifa. It's a whole bunch of people in smaller groups who show up where they're told to and do their little bullshit. I won't call it anti-fascism stuff because it's not anti-fascist. First of all, when you're telling people that they can't say things, you're the fascist, shithead. When you're saying that the government should control how people speak, you're the fascist, fuckface. That's you. That is a big part of fascism that these assholes like to ignore. They mix up fascism and authoritarianism all the time. They'd be wrong with the authoritarian part as well, but the fascism part, they fuck that up all the time. It's like somebody said, fascists are bad, and they're like, yeah, fascists are bad. I'm not going to look up what that means. I'm just going to go burn shit down with you. Maybe I can get some free sneakers while I'm at it. Even though most of the demonstrations have been peaceful, Trump has made law and order a major part. Time out. Let's go back. Oh, because they keep falling back on this. They really do. Most of the daytime protests have been peaceful. That's true. There have been a lot of marches and stuff and sit-ins and that kind of shit that have been perfectly peaceful. The problem is nighttime. Thank you, Dark Resurrect. I have to keep my toasters loaded because of them. I understand. If I was in an area where they were, I'd probably have loaded toasters around me as well. I have access to a toaster. There's one in my house, but it's not loaded at the moment. Even though most of the demonstrations have been peaceful. This is such a misdirect. This is such a smokescreen. It really is. Excuse me. I've hit the yawning portion of the show. Jesus Christ. It's a misdirect. And what I mean by that is they're not wrong that most of the demonstrations have been peaceful if you include all of what's happened together. And it's funny for a bunch of people who try to tell me I need to separate them, the rioting from the peaceful protesters. I make that distinction. You're the one who's not. You're lumping them all together so that you can say most of them are peaceful. I'm saying the peaceful ones are over on one side and the violent ones are over on the other. Nobody's trying to stop the peaceful ones. Do that if you need to. Do it legally, because there are things that you have to do. Get your permits in whatever city you are. Do that. But those nighttime ones, the ones where they take over a whole city block and hold it. What was it? How many city blocks was Chaz? The ones where they burn down Minneapolis and destroy Louisville and turn Portland into an even bigger shithole. Portland's a beautiful city and they're fucking it all up. Thank you, Dark Resurrect. I have to keep one in my car. It's insane. I don't blame you. I hope I never see a video with you. I hope I never see you in a video having to use your toaster. And I mean that sincerely because I don't want that to happen to you. I don't care about the shithead it would happen to because they'd probably deserve it, but I don't want that to happen to you. Somebody will probably quit. Monkey wants people to be toasted. That's not what I'm saying at all. There is a big difference between the protests and the riots. What happens in Portland nightly is not a protest. It's a fucking riot. Those are different things. And they keep conflating them just so that they can say, oh, it's a small percentage. Okay, how about we separate them completely? These people over here being peaceful, we'll leave them alone. Because nobody's fucking with them. And the people being violent, we'll stop the violence. I don't understand why that's a bad thing. When did arresting arsonists become a bad thing? I don't understand. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be facetious here. I, honest to God, don't understand how people can defend this shit. How do you look at what's happened and be like, oh, look, man, they're just out there exercising their First Amendment rights and stuffs. When the fuck are you even talking about? These people are horrible. They're horrible people. Oh, but they came from the places that Trump's trying to protect. Yeah, Trump's trying to protect them because those people in their neighborhoods are burning shit down. This article is insane. It's absolutely fucking insane. Trump has made law and order a major part of his re-election campaign, casting the protesters as lawless and violent in mostly Democratic cities, he says, have done nothing to stymie the mayhem. He says. Both Portland and Seattle tied the police's hands so that they couldn't stop these assholes from burning shit down. The feds had to come in Portland and deputize the police there so that they could use the tools they had to stop rioters. Because old Teddy boy, he was like, nah, let him burn shit down. And if you think Ted's bad, wait till this manly bitch that's replacing him comes in. Now, there is a chance Ted Wheeler will still win his election, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good because she is adamantly pro Antifa, and he still tries to pretend that he's not, which is weird, Ted. I mean, just come out and say you are, and you might not have to go into hiding like you did. Ted Wheeler had to leave where he lives because he was afraid. He was afraid for the other people in the building. Bullshit, bitch. You would have told people where you were going so that people could still come protest you. You see, it's perfectly okay for people to harm others as long as they're not harming Teddy boy. I don't want Ted harmed. I don't. But if he's only going into hiding like he did because of those poor people in his building, and I think those people deserve better than having Ted as one of their neighbors because he's a fucking shitbag. Thank you, Frank. Last December, I went over to the wrong coast to visit my far left vegan sister for a week. We spent a night in Seattle and a night in Vancouver before going to the island she's been living on. It's a shame because Seattle's a really nice city. Most of these cities were really nice. There's a lot of money in them. There's a lot of money in them that have made it beautiful out there. Seattle has a shit ton of money floating around because of all the tech stuff out there. And they're just destroying it because they're bored middle-class white kids. Monkey, but this is BLM. Bullshit. Take a look at those fucking crowds and tell me that's BLM. That's an awful lot of honkies to be in BLM. The only black you'll see is their clothing. Monkey, if the pro Antifa lady is elected, I'm betting a new Chaz pops up there. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, why? No, you know what? Here's the thing. They wouldn't need a new Chaz. They wouldn't. They could just let these people take over the whole fucking city. Go wherever you want. Go wherever you want. She's with them because she's anti-fascist, you guys. I'm anti-fascist. I fucking hate that. If you're against fascism, then you're Antifa. No. If I name a group anti-shitbags and then act like a shitbag, I can't go, hey, I'm anti-shitbag. Now, I have no doubt a lot of people that are part of Antifa, and yes, it is a group. Don't let anybody lie to you about that shit. I have no doubt they think they're on the right side. I have no doubt they believe in what they're saying. The problem is they're fucking retarded. I'm fairly certain the kid licking the window thinks the window tastes good, but you still stop him because don't do that. If the cities refuse to properly clamp down, he says the federal government has to step in. Protecting the people is one of the actual jobs of the government. And when the state government's not doing it, feds have to jump in. Anyway, this is a dumbass article. It goes on for a little while. You know what? Let's pull up this so you guys can see it. This is a graph. People charged. Federal charges levied in racial unrest. Federal authorities have arrested more than 300 people amid a crackdown on racial injustice protesters in the U.S. since spring. An AP analysis shows that while many are arrested or many are accused of violent crimes, others are charged with relatively minor violations. Here's the charges. Number 1, with 86 of the 300. Out of 300 people, 86 were arrested for arson. 46, illegal possession of a firearm. That Antifa shithead who shot the guy in Portland, who just walked up and shot him in the chest. He'd already been stopped twice in the city for where they found him to have an illegal firearm, and they let him go twice. Then he killed someone. Aren't liberals the ones who hate firearms? Shouldn't they be all over illegal firearm charges? You would think so. Civil unrest, disorder, rioting, creating a disturbance, disorderly conduct, 39. I wonder if that's one of the minor ones they're talking about. Assaulting, impeding, intimidating federal employee or officer, 33. Use of explosives. Remember, these are mostly peaceful. Use of explosives, making or possessing a destructive device, including a Molotov cocktail, which they put in parentheses, including Molotov cocktail. Like, that's no big deal. Like, guys, can you believe they're including Molotov cocktails here with explosives? Receiving explosives. 30 people. 10% of that group for explosives. Destroying, damaging property by fire or explosive conspiracy, 17. Remember, this is on top of the arson charges. You could add that 17 to the arsonists, in my opinion, which would put us over 100 for people setting shit on fire. Failing to obey lawful orders was 17. Destruction, damage of government property, also 17. Burglary or conspiracy to commit burglary, 14. What part of peaceful protesting for racial injustice requires breaking and entering? Interfering, obstructing, resisting law enforcement, that's 11. So resisting arrest, you guys, or trying to stop the police from arresting somebody. Attempting to destroy or destroying a vehicle by fire / conspiracy. It's another more fire. It's another 10. Out of the 300 so far, let's see, with explosives, where was the other one? We have arson, 86, 30 with explosives. So that's what, 100 and 115. Damage by explosive or fire is another 17. So that brings us up to 132. And then we just added to that destroying vehicles by fire. It's another 10. So 142 out of 300 people. Almost 50% of the assholes arrested in this thing are destroying shit with fire. And like, hey, it's no big deal. They're just burning shit in protest for racial justice. Jesus Christ. I don't even know how to deal with this shit. I don't know how to respond to something that so blatantly ignores reality, you know? It isn't like they kind of get it wrong and just missed a little bit. This is blatant. This is blatantly defending these people. It's defending them and acting as though they're not really doing anything wrong. They're not something you should worry about. They're not far lefty groups, man. They're just, there's some militant groups that other people are putting under the banner of Antifa. All right. How about this? let's, for argument's sake, say it's not Antifa. We'll take Antifa off the fucking table. How about that? How about that? We'll just get rid of that altogether. Anyone engaging in fucking violent rioting, insurrection bullshit can go to prison. I don't give a fuck if they're part of Antifa or not. Now, there's the other part of Antifa where I would like to see them named a terrorist group and people who are part of it charged accordingly because they are a terrorist group. You want proof they're a terrorist group? CNN ran a story, and you can go look this up. It is still on YouTube. They ran a story about Antifa and how they have a doxing group. Antifa, which isn't an organized thing, has a doxing group that they use to destroy people's lives. Because, oh, they were at the wrong protest, or, oh, they said the wrong thing on Twitter. And so their whole purpose is to go out there and destroy people. Yeah. Get them fired from their jobs. To ruin their life. That's their goal. It's their fucking stated goal. But hey, it's not organized. It's not an organized thing. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you again, Frank, who says, arsonists tend to be, this is in quotes, arsonists tend to be minimally educated and underachievers. He or she generally has poor interpersonal relationships and is socially inadequate. Often he or she is unemployed, and if the arsonist has an employment history, it is erratic and involves... What's that from? That sounds like you're quoting some FBI thing. But none of what you said would be inappropriate to what we've said about these assholes already. Frank goes on, thank you for the other donation. You didn't have to do that. Erratic and involves little to no skill, have a history of substance abuse, end quote. Sounds a lot like people would join Antifa, just saying. Also, I'm not shocked a lot of other fires spring up around a lot of arsonists. Yeah, it's weird that what you described there is stuff me and Jack have talked about with these kids. Do you guys remember when we did the profile or the mugshots? That one fat kid? It's like, this kid is probably a good kid, or used to be a good kid, but he looks fat and kind of awkward, and all he needed was fall in with the right crowd, and instead he fell in with these shitbags. It's very easy for groups like this to go after kids who are on the fringe. That's what you go for if you're in a cult. You go for kids on the fringe, the ones who feel like there's no place for them in society. You know why? Because all you got to do is give them a little attention. Little attention, they become very loyal. To the point of doing really stupid shit. To a point they will do really stupid shit for your approval. They just want that taste of somebody caring. And I think that is a big part of Antifa. I really do. If you look at the people out there writing, you see a lot of interesting shaped people. Very interesting shaped people. You should try to have Jack Murphy on the show. Oh, Jackie Murphy. Channel is Jack Murphy Live. He was doxxed and attacked by Antifa, lost his job, kicked out as a coach at Little League. Jesus fuck. Yosef, who was on Lords of the Night with us a couple times, he was a Proud Boy. He got doxxed by Antifa and lost his job. That happened during the time that he'd been on the show with us, because he was on the show two times, year or more. It's got to be even more than a year, because I believe SDA was on at the time. And yeah, Antifa doxed him and went to his employer and got him fired. How fucked up is that? I don't like you, so you should starve to death. Gamer Villian, thank you. They are admitted in being organized now, at least according to the sites, calling for and organizing mass election day protests in D.C. I'm not sure what sites you're talking about, But it doesn't matter. They can come out and say, yes, we're an organized group, and the media and the politicians are still going to go, they're not organized. That's not a group. They're not a group. It's been the same thing with so much of this stuff. You have all of these people who are telling you to ignore reality. You know what else? This compares to me to the social justice thing. Do you remember as everybody started backing off social justice? P-Dog, I know you sent that to me, and I'll check it out. Thank you. At the end of the social justice thing, we were told, hey, it's no big deal. Those are just college kids. They're just college kids. They have no power. Do you guys remember that? They have no power, you guys. It's just a couple of kids on college campuses. You don't really need to worry about social justice because it's just a couple of kids on college campuses and maybe some BuzzFeed articles. You don't got to worry. You don't got to worry about what's going on. Don't worry about it. Look, we got this. You go over there and just mind your business. This isn't real. This isn't real. I promise you, it's not real. I know you see it, but it's not real. I know you see your laws being passed actually affected by this stupid shit, but it's not real. Zan Wild, thank you. This crap is the natural result of SJWs. You're not wrong. It's a natural result of, well, Marxist bullshit. It really is, which is the same thing. That's what SJWs come from. It's Marxist bullshit. Speaking of which, did you guys see that Jordan Peterson is back? He had a video the other day from him, a recent one. Because before videos have been released, but they were like old videos. He made a video, and it was good to see him. I do wonder if the drug addiction and the treatment programs didn't fuck his mind up because he didn't seem as on the ball as he used to be. You know? Jordan, by on the ball, I mean, he's always been a scatterbrained thinker, which is what I always liked about Jordan. If you watch his talks that he gives, and I haven't seen the ones that he did for his book tour or anything, but I'm talking about in a classroom setting. There's several of those on YouTube that you can go watch. It's amazing watching this man think things out in real time, and I always liked that about him. And watching him, I was like, ooh, is he okay? Is he okay? Did he have an addiction? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I forget the name of what he was addicted to, but it was a Xanax-like drug, wasn't it? It was a muscle relaxer, something like that. And he got very addicted to it. And by all accounts, he never got more than he was supposed to get. Benzodiazepines. Thank you, Zan Wilder. I can't believe I actually got that word out correctly. That's what he was addicted to. And he first started taking it, I forget what for. And he'd been taking it for, I think it was sleep problems. And then his wife was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And Jordan went down a rabbit hole he shouldn't. And that drug will fuck you up when you're trying to get off it. I was reading the side effects, and there was a story about Jordan and about how he went to Russia, and one of the proposed treatments for this, because it is such a hard, maybe it was depression, Miss Loca. I can't remember what it was exactly for, but it is a hard drug to come off of, and some countries will actually put you in a coma for a couple of weeks until your body gets over it. Problem is, you wake up and your brain still wants it. Your brain still has that addiction. And it can be rough. It can be really rough. Virgil says, benzodiazepines are some of the most absolute brutal drugs to come off of. His problem came from him trying to cut it out cold turkey, which can absolutely kill you. That is true. I forgot to mention that part. Cold turkey has killed people. There's a a preferred treatment here in the US where they just slowly lower the doses over several weeks and months to get you off of it, because yeah, it's fucked up. I was reading that story about him and what they went and did in Russia and stuff, and like, oh goddamn. But yeah, cold turkey was probably not the way to go. Anyway, check it out. He's on his channel, Jordan Peterson, and there's a video over there. And tell me if I'm wrong about how he seems. It's not like he seemed addled or anything, just addled for him. I don't know. There's something just came off, just came off. The ability to concentrate is one of the issues with addiction. I don't think that was what I mean, the problem when I was talking about him, the way he thinks and stuff, and how scatterbrained he is. I don't think that was part of the addiction, because he was concentrating. He's asked a question and he has to decide what to say on the spot. And so he'll start going left, and he's like, well, I need to pull this in too. So he'll go way right for a minute before he brings it back to his point on the left there. And I'm not talking politically here. I'm just talking, moving around and stuff. And it's really interesting to watch. So I think he was still concentrating. These are older videos, and the benzodiazepine thing happened a little bit later after some of these. Anyway, Virgil says, you absolutely cannot cut it out cold turkey. Your brain basically eats itself. It has blatant signs of neurological damage. You can tell his thought process is far more labored. That's what I was getting when I watched too, Virgil. And it's sad because he had a good mind. I enjoyed it. It was not always in agreement. For instance, he has embraced religion, which I don't. But I still enjoyed his thoughts on it. He's an interesting thinker. And I told you guys yesterday, was it during the after party? I really do like watching people think. I enjoy watching interviews for that reason. It's not for any love of whoever's being interviewed or anything. I mean, sometimes it is, but what I like watching about that is watching him think, being asked a question and having to come up with the answer. I enjoy watching that. It's not easy for everyone. It's not easy to be put on the spot and have to think of an answer. And you can see that with Jordan, that was one of his problems. I mean, he's a smart guy and he had the answer and he'd eventually get to it. But a lot of the times he'd have to work for it. And as he did more and more interviews and stuff, he got better at it to the point where he was like destroying that crazy ramen-haired bitch on channel 4 or whatever it was. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about tonight? Do we want to get into my troll? Okay, he's not even a troll. Do we want to get into the asshole on Twitter who won't shut the fuck up about me? Should we touch on that? There was this fucking asshole. Guys, I've told you before, I don't like liars. Don't like them. Fucking hate them. They anger me. So for those of you who missed this story, I did a stream last night where I named it has shoe on head changed or something like that. And this shitbag tags a couple of other people in it to do his fighting for him because he's a pussy. Misstates that Jack was involved in the shoe on head stuff and calls me a creeper for talking about shoe on head. I addressed all of this in the after party that I did earlier, and I've addressed it on Twitter. Poppy was engaging him today. And Poppy, I have no problem with you engaging him. Please understand, I'm not saying anything bad about you. But she was engaging him, and this fucking lying piece of shit actually suggested that several women have come into his DMs to talk about how I've been creepy in their DMs. And that's where Monkey got done playing. It's where I'm like, you're a fucking lying piece of shit. The other shit that he said, I mean, he can say stupid shit. It's a free country and all that. And his lying about me in other ways is fine. But that lie is bullshit. I'm going to tell you guys something. I don't know if you know it. I don't know if you know it at all. But I never sign out of my Twitter. Ever. I'm asleep most of the day. Lady Monkey has full access to anything I do. Everything I do. She knows my phone is locked, but she knows the password to it. I don't delete anything ever. All my emails, all of my texts, all of my private messages on Twitter, all of that shit is saved. I don't get rid of any of it. I have nothing to hide from my wife. And if I was doing that shit, I would want to hide it. I would want to be very careful with it because, oh my God, I do not want my wife thinking I'm trying to hit on somebody and hook up with some woman. I was going to say a bad word, but that's not, I mean, it's not fair to the women in that, whoever they supposedly are. But I don't do that. I don't. The few times that I've talked to people where I've even complimented them in DMs, I always tell them, I am not hitting on you. Please understand that. But I wanted to tell you, I like the way your dress looked today. Or I really like that dress. You know, something like that. I don't go hitting on women because I like my wife. I like my happy married life, for fuck's sake. And this little son of a bitch, this lying piece of shit, I have everything saved, motherfucker. Bring it on. Name a name, you fucking liar. I do not like to be lied about, guys. I do not like to be lied about. Gamer says, what the fuck? You patted me on the head like it was one of your kids. I tend to do that, and I don't mean to. I did that with Queenie the other day. I don't know if you guys know who Queenie is on Twitter. She used to be part of the YouTube. Oh, shit. What was it? I forget the name of it. The Trusted Flagger or something like that. I forget I think that was the name of the program. But she was part of that for a very brief time. And I needed help with something. And somebody told me she was one, so I reached out to her blind. Perfectly in front of everybody. I didn't go into her DMs. I did it just a tag on Twitter. I don't think I've ever DM'd her. But the other day, she made some posts and the dad in me came out. I didn't mean for it to. But she was a little bit down, and I was like trying to pick her back up, and I can't help myself. It's just the dad in me. I try to encourage. Believe it or not, I'm a very encouraging person. Ask Satsu. He gets annoyed by it sometimes. Lancelot, thank you so much. I would slide into Shoes DMs. Not even going to lie with her Vosh support. Not going to lie, even with her Vosh support. There you go. I'm not saying she's ugly or anything like that. I'm not. She's not my type. We've talked about my type. We've seen pictures of my type. Becca used to send them in and we would look at them. Plus, I'm not interested in throwing my fucking marriage away. I'm okay. Trusted Flagger, I think she helped the wrong people, though. Well, thanks for that, Midnight. She helped me out. Queenie's the Hispanic girl with the big tits, right? Is she Hispanic? I never noticed, to be honest. Does she have big breasticles? I believe so. But whether or not she's Hispanic, I have no idea. We've seen lots of pictures of your type. Right, because Becca used to send them in, because Becca's a good person. Now, lots of you sent them in, but Becca was the one who did it constantly. So It's hard to fight that fatherly mentality, ain't it, Monk? It is. It really is. And you know what? Where a big problem comes in? Men, if you do not know this, if you don't, women don't like you to solve their problems. If a woman has a problem, all she wants is for you to listen and empathize. That's it. They don't want you to, they're like, I just need somebody to agree with me. Because if you try solving their problem for you, they get mad at you. And I can't help it though. It's like, look, this is your problem. This is how you solve it. And I try to be nice about it, but women don't like that at all. They're like, why did you try to fuck you? Like, I'm trying to help you. And women be like, fuck you. Now I have another problem. How the hell will I remember that? Well, here's how you remember it best. Get married. Stay married for a decade. And about a decade, it starts to sink into your thick skull that she doesn't want you to solve her problems. She just wants you to empathize. 99% of the time. Am I supposed to care about other people's problems? No, you don't have to. I mean, depends on who they are, you know. I'm when I like somebody, when like with Queenie, for instance, she helped me out. She didn't even have to respond to me. She could have just, I don't know this motherfucker. We weren't friends. That meant something to me. Like, this is a very kind person. So I want her to be happy for the rest of her life. So when she goes onto Twitter and she has a problem, I like, here's how you fix that. Here's how you fix it. You'll be fine. And it's not what they want, man. Pat says, exactly. I got a lot of them on Facebook. They constantly complain. Yet when you give them solvable advice, they get mad at you. Right? Women be weird, man. They're weird. I don't understand. I really don't. Logic stems from having a decent father. Logic stems from being taught how to think. Not what to think, how. And it's not something we do very often. We should teach logic in school, and we don't. Logic should be, the closest we come to teaching logic is math, and even that we're fucking all up. Because math is logical. It's why I like math. It's the most logical of all the studies. It just makes sense. It is what it is. Evolved Potato, thank you so much. Over on the Streamlabs. Sorry, I have to get over there. God damn it. There we go. Evolved Potato, thank you. Is that why politicians don't solve the problems they say they're going to solve? Because more women can vote? Again, another reason to amend the 19th. You know, I'd never thought of that, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Joe's just going to tell you he understands your problem so that women will vote for him, because that way, he's an old man. He's been around women a long time, even though he doesn't care about some of them. Even though some of them mean nothing at all to him. There's an app that predicts when my wife yells at me. Does it work? I care about other people's problems. It's just I feel like I make more problems. By helping them? I feel like you're not helping them correctly. They don't teach anything in public schools. You know, there's a few things that I've watched throughout my life. Things that, even going back to my high school years, that once I started watching politics and stuff, I don't want to say I was predicting the future, because I don't think it's that. It's just noticing the end conclusion. They started making college basically mandatory. And I had this thought, I must have been 16 at the time or so. I was very young. And like, these politicians keep pushing it. Politicians keep pushing to make college the most important thing. And that was weird to me, because it seemed a weird thing for politicians to push. I would think better education up to grade 12. And then if they can go on to college, sure, but not everybody needs it. But they were on the everybody needs it. Everybody needs it. Okay. My brain went, eventually they're going to say government should pay for it all. Because if everybody needs it, if everybody has to go, well, then that's just another public service. It's just extending the years of school. And look where we are. And when it comes to destroying the public schools with them not teaching things, I see this and I can't help but think it's being done on purpose to force a national mandate of what should be taught in schools. Because right now it's left up to the localities. But I can see a time where the federal government makes a push to take it over. Thank you, Lancelot. My female best friend has snapped at me for doing that, Monk. I still forget she gets mad again, and she gets mad again. Dude, I've done it with my wife. I have. And you know what? There's some times where you look at them and seriously, listen to me on this. If a woman comes to you with a problem, don't be mean. Don't be sarcastic. Say to them, are you looking for empathy or a solution? Because I can do both. And whichever one it is, and if they're what's the word I'm looking for? Not a homicidal bitch, they will understand and tell you which one they want, and you can help them. I had to do that with Lady Monkey eventually. Like, okay, are you looking for sympathy or a solution? And she'll smile and she'll go, sympathy. Like, all right, what happened, babe? And we talk about it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Because she's not dumb. She can fix her own problems. It's just that men and women are different. If I go to Satsu and like, dude, this happened. And he said, well, this is how you fix it. I'd be like, dude, thank you so much. I would never be like, fuck, dude, what the hell's the matter with you? I just wanted you to listen to me. I just wanted you to empathize with what I was going through. That would never even enter my fucking mind. That would never fucking enter my mind. And if I said that to him, we probably wouldn't be friends anymore because he'd be like, I'm not talking to that crazy motherfucker. But it's the difference between men and women. It doesn't make them bad. And this is something that I've seen guys get mad at women for. Don't get mad at them for it. It's just how they're built. It's just how they're built. Sometimes you just need a little empathy in your life. Well, imagine if Satsu would say, oh, come here, baby, tell me about it. I know, right? I'd be like, oh, yeah, we can't be friends now. Can you believe my nephew, who's in first grade, is being taught multiplication and division? Where do you live, Green Death? Don't be specific, but are you in the States? Because that sounds like some Asian shit. If my buddy ever said something like that, I would call for a wellness check on him, right? Because guys aren't like that. We're just like, oh, we need to fix this problem. And women are like, I need to just tell somebody about it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's cool. It's just too many of us guys, we don't understand. And I wish women would not get mad at us for that. But give them a little empathy. And then then ask them hey, do you need help with this? And usually they'll go, no, I got it. Because they're not dumb. They just want somebody to, dump on. I don't know a better way to say that. They just want somebody to dump on. Green Death says Michigan. Damn, man. Private school? Is that private school or homeschooling? But men are just broken women, Monkey. I know, Frosted Glass, and that is something that drives me insane. That whole notion. You only bring that up to piss me off, don't you? Nut says, I feel like you're a little biased when you say this, but she says vent to. I guess that's a nicer way of saying dump on. You're not wrong, Nuts. I should have said vent to. And again, I'm not mad at women for this. It's just something, guys, you really do need to be aware of when you're talking with women. because sometimes they just want an ear. Monk, I graduated in 2015. They taught me nothing truly about how to live. I don't think school is for teaching you how to live. The closest that you get to that is probably math, English, some basic science. They used to teach, home ec, which should be taught, and that would be teaching you how to live. I had to take a class where I had to learn to balance a checkbook. That's a useful skill. Although it's not as needed as it used to be. You just check your bank statement online, right? Check your PayPal account, see what's in there. Assassin says, waste men's time. No, it's not a waste of time, man. It's not a waste of time at all. There's nothing. I'm about to be simpy, y'all. I like that my wife leans on me for things when she's having a moment and she just needs somebody to vent to, somebody to listen to her frustrations. I'm happy to listen. I really am. Because I'm glad that she thinks of me that way. I'm glad that she trusts me enough to express herself that way. Now, again, if one of my male friends did that, I'd be like, we can't hang out no more. I don't hate you, but you need to go over there and never come back over here. But if it's with a woman, I understand. They're more emotional than we are. They are. School shouldn't teach anyone how to live. That's your parents' job. If you made it to 18 without learning any life skills, then you should be pissed at mom and dad. True. Parents out there, for fuck's sake, listen to me. You are not doing a good job raising your kids. You are bad moms and dads. Monkey, you can't tell somebody they're a bad mom. Yes, I can. Because some of them are bad. Hashtag not all. A lot of you are still doing a good job with your kids. But if your kid is 10 and doesn't know how to cook anything on the stove, you're fucking up. If your kid can't take care of themselves by the time they're 18, that's your fault. Most of the stuff you learn in school, you don't need in your regular home life. You don't normally need to be sitting around and dividing shit. You're sitting there watching your favorite TV program going, I need to do some long division right now. That doesn't happen. That's, more for your work life and stuff. It is amazing how many kids. There was an article about a guy who cooked a chicken in his stove without putting it in a pan. And the article came up because the guy had asked his friend how many times a week or how often he cleans his stove. The inside, not his stove, his oven, sorry. And his friend said, hardly ever. He goes, how? He goes, it gets so full of grease and blood. His friend goes, aren't you using a pan? And he goes, I have to put it in a pan? And there were a lot of people who thought this was made up, who thought there was no way in hell that this kid didn't know a chicken goes in a pot or on a pan if you're going to put it in the fucking oven. But the truth is, a lot of parents don't take the time to teach their kids fucking anything. My daughter's 4 and I'm teaching her to cook. She is ravenous for the, I think that's what that was, ravenous for the knowledge. I taught all my children how to cook. I don't know if they remember everything, but they seem to do a decent job at it. I've even with the girls, and it's not because they're girls, but like when I'm with them and stuff, there's oftentimes they get to help as much as they can. Now, the youngest one, Peanut, she can't do anything yet. But I've had her in the kitchen while grandma's cooking. She knows what a pot is. And as they grow up, yeah, grandpa, when he gets the chance, will help teach them to cook. It's not really that hard to cook. A lot of people are intimidated by it. But guys, just for the record, you can cook a whole lot of things just by reading directions. Just by reading directions. It's not that hard. If you have a smartphone, you can actually cook yourself a really nice meal just by looking up recipes. Now, I know that's weird, but look up recipes. I taught my son. Now my son owns part of 4 pizzerias. Good for him. It's weird to me that this is a thing. Maybe if you went back to like the 50s or something where like boys shouldn't learn to cook, which is really weird because the best chefs in the world have always been men. Sorry, ladies, they just have been. And it's weird to me that cooking is seen as a female thing. Not in the Navy, for fuck's sake. They didn't even have women in the Navy until fairly recently. So you know who did all the cooking? Men. But for some reason, it was looked at as a female-only thing. So in that case, you go back to the 50s, like he didn't learn how to cook. All right, I understand that. Mom didn't have him in the only the daughters were taken in to show how to cook. But these days, there is no reason not to teach your children how to take care of themselves. Teach them how to sew, and if you don't know, learn. It's another really valuable skill. Fathers out there, teach them how to change a fucking tire. It's not that hard. Teach them how to do, but we read that story and it really pisses me off. We read this story about how men today don't need to know what they used to know. They don't need to know handyman tips. No, so they need to just, anytime something breaks, hire somebody else to come fix it. Yeah. And they told us what men do need to know, and it's all fucking SJW bullshit nonsense. There are things you should know. You just should. You should know how to change a light bulb. It's really simple. But most of the other things you should do around your house yourself are pretty much just as simple. If you don't know, I'm trying to think of a really good example of something that sounds complicated, but it's really not. Changing a light fixture. Not that hard. Turn off the power. You disconnect the old one. You connect the new one. Follow directions so you know which power line to connect where. Put it back in place. Screw it down. Done. Turn the power back on. Bam. Now I'm going to pay an electrician $100 an hour to come do that shit. It's just so stupid that we're not teaching our kids stuff. Installing a fan, replacing a socket. Yeah, Bubba, exactly. This stuff is not that hard. Changing a toilet. Exactly. Easy, just gross. It is gross. There's so much basic plumbing. Yes, exactly. This is all stuff that kids should be taught by the time they've left home. Thank you, Frank. When I was at my first shop, I had a male customer who had no idea how to put air in the tires of his minivan. I've known people who don't know how to put air in their tires, so I'm not shocked at all. I'm shocked that his parents didn't take the time to teach him. This is all basic shit. It's all basic shit. So yeah, don't blame your schools if you don't know this stuff. Blame your parents. And go tell them, like, look, you guys failed me. You guys failed me. I need to know this shit. And you don't even have to say it like that. That's kind of fucked up. Go to your mom and go, Mom, I don't know how to cook stuff. Can you teach me? Or Dad, like in my house, you could, Dad, I don't know how to cook this. Can you teach me? I basically taught my wife how to cook. She didn't know how to cook very much when we got together. She wasn't a 14-year-old kid with no mom and a drunk dad, so she never got that knowledge. Frank, thank you. Have they never had bicycles? Same method. Some kids never had to deal with popped tires, apparently. Chat is hilarious. Chat's awesome, man. I'm trying to read as much as I can, but I'm also, ranting over here. Teach your kids shit, man. Like I said, if you don't know, go talk to your parents. Don't be mean about it because, maybe they were busy. Maybe they thought you paid attention and your dumbass just didn't. Maybe you were too busy playing Call of Duty or something. I don't know. But yeah, Mom, I don't know how to cook a chicken. How do I do it? Can you show me? Don't just ask. Ask them to show you so you can actually watch it done. So you're not like, well, all I got to do is put some pepper on top and throw it in the oven. If you watch, you actually see it goes in a pan before it goes in the oven. My mom made me learn to fry eggs when I was 10. My mom made us learn. She wasn't mean about it, but I've told you guys this before. My mom used to say, I'm teaching them how to cook because I don't want my boys to have to depend on any woman when they grow up. She used more colorful terms than I did right there. My mom was violently opposed to us having to depend on women in our lives. It was funny. It was funny, but good for her. I mean, I knew how to cook by the time she passed, so I could make my own dinners and shit. My dad's a master electrician and glassblower. By 12, I could change an electrical panel by myself, and now I make glass pipes for a living. That's what dads are for. That's awesome, Virgil. That's really cool. Ex-Bubba Hotep, thank you. The internet could be partly to blame. How many things have you learned from your friends' parents because you actually went to their house? Probably not much. I learned most of mine from my parents. I wasn't a big fan of going to my friends' houses. If we were going to play, I wanted to play outside, Gamer Vleen, thank you. It's sad car dealers now have people that don't know how to drive manual. A bit important that your lot guy doesn't grind a customer's clutch. Oh. I don't know why we still make manual cars in this country. I don't. I mean, you could still have a rotary phone if you wanted, but why wouldn't you have a cell phone? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying there. And yeah, if somebody's on a car lot, they probably should know how to drive a manual transmission. And I've done it. I know how to drive manual. But Random says they're still cheaper. Okay. And use less gas. How much less gas? How much? I saved 35 cents this year because I drive a car where I have to continually click this damn thing to get it moving. Yeah, come into the 21st century with us, guys. Get automatic transmissions. That way you can smoke and drink while you're driving. Now, when I say drink, I do not mean alcohol. No, I do not support that at all. And I'm not even kidding here. I'm not being facetious on this one. But, so you have like a cup down there and you take a sip of your Diet Pepsi every now and then. Maybe masturbate. I don't know. But, yeah, get rid of the manuals, man. Fuck that. Manuals are the special order option and are more expensive. Ha! How you like me now, bitches? I honestly don't know about car pricing. Monk, you can do that in a manual. It just takes more skill. Okay. If you want hard mode, that's on you. I like things that make my life easier. I really do. Driving a manual is like being a race car driver. It's fun. Like I said, I've driven one. And I do get the appeal of shifting gears and stuff because it's kind of neat. But after about 3 days, I was like, I don't like doing this. It's like, I know they make cars where you don't have to do this shit. So why am I doing this shit? Yeah. You can lay better rubber with a manual. I don't try to lay rubber. I'm actually a very cautious driver because I don't want to die in a car wreck. I probably will, though, because I just said that. Thanks, monkey. Dark Resurrect, thank you so much. Can't get roadhead in the manual, just saying. Exactly. And Frank, thank you. Manual's better in the snow. Not in my experience. Maybe in yours. In my experience, it was more of a pain in the ass, especially if you had to stop on a fucking hill. And we have some hills around here. Uh, I had to drive manual while I was deployed this year, since that was the only vehicle available. Overseas? Yeah, in talking to Bear, you'll find out, there's not a lot of manual transmissions in England. So if you're doing that, guys, it's just like bowing to the king. Why would you be doing that? We stopped that shit 220 some years ago, 240 years ago, whatever it is. I haven't done the math in a while to know how long it's been since we declared our independence. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at an hour and a half, and I'm talking about manual transmissions right now. So we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Thank you guys who watched the game stream tonight. I didn't know if that was going to work. P-Dog says because my 66 Chevy truck with 3 on the tree doesn't have that option. Fair enough. For those who don't know what that means, it means the gear shift is on the steering column. Gamer Lean, thank you. Put my Jeep in second. Never need 4x4 until I had a nor'easter. Second, locked my wheels to the ground. 4x4 made turning harder. Our Jeep was 4x4, and in the snow, it was an absolute must. Otherwise, in Michigan, all you need is, as long as it's a front-wheel drive, you're usually fine. But, yeah. Come to the revolution. Come to the automatic transmission. Stop living in the 1960s, P-Dog. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you who came out to the game stream, because I wasn't sure that was even going to work. In fact, when I set it up, if you looked at the title, it was like, this is going to go bad. And it worked, and I was happy, and I enjoy playing that game. So that'll probably be in the roster quite a bit. Oh, who do I got for the rest of the World Series, if interested? I haven't been paying attention to the series at all, not since the Cubbies got bumped out of the playoffs very early on. The only way they could have got bumped out sooner is if they hadn't even made the playoffs. So once my Cubbies go out, I don't really pay too much attention to baseball anymore. But who's playing? The Dodgers and what? Fuck, I forgot the other team. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't know anything about them to even make a guess, and I don't have any loyalty to either. So, Cubs fan A, I'm a Cards fan. Well, we're not allowed to talk to each other anymore. I'm trying to say goodnight, and people keep saying interesting things. Tampa Bay, that's right. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I forget who the fuck is Tampa Bay, because they came in, and at that time I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to baseball because who cared? Didn't Mark Grace go play for them? That was a sad day for a Cubby fan when Marky Grace left the team. Mark Grace, excellent Devil Rays, thank you, excellent first baseman. Him and Rand. I can say his name. Sandberg. Ryan Sandberg. I don't know why I kept wanting to put a D on it. Ryan Sandberg used to play second base. I used to love watching them play, man. Just the Rays now. They dropped the Devil. Of course they did. Dog backwards, thank you. Consider it a pink tax. Ryan Sandberg. Oh, man, Ryan was great. Cubbies, man, they had a good run back in those days. And then blew it because they were the Cubs. And then fucking Mark left. And so I stopped watching baseball for a while. I really did. And I've gotten back into it in the last several years. It was the year the Cubbies won that I started paying more attention to it. My father-in-law, he'll keep me abreast of it now and then because he's a big baseball fan. And he'll tell me how my Cubbies are doing. And that year they were doing great. And they've done good since then. They're not horrible, but yeah, if they're not the Diamondbacks, that's who they went to. Thank you. That's who Gracie went to. Son of a bitch, traitor motherfucker. I can't really blame him for leaving the fucking Cubs, though. I feel like that with the Chargers too. When somebody leaves, it's always like, well, good luck with that Super Bowl ring you're about to get. Sandberg was awesome. Yes, he was, P-Dog. Oh, man. One of the greats. Both of those men probably on the all-time greats for Cubbies. But yeah, I can't blame them when they fucking leave these teams. If I was smart, I would leave them. What kind of sports fan picks the Chargers and the Cubs to follow for his life? That's like just hating yourself. It really is, especially the Chargers. At least the Cubbies finally came around and won the series. I don't think the Chargers will ever win a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I really don't. Because every time they get a good team, they're just like, we should destroy this now. They got so close. Oh, my God. They made it to the Super Bowl with Nathan Means. They had LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees on the same team with Antonio Gates. This was an explosive trio. And they're like, we should probably get rid of that quarterback guy and that running back guy, and bring in somebody who's tall and ugly, which is what they did. Fuck, I got to stop talking. I'm just going to keep going about sports now. Guys, thanks for coming out. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning into the game stream. And please check that out if you haven't. I so expected it to fail. I didn't even bother making a thumbnail for it, which is what I need to do right now. So I'll be going to bed after I hear Lady Monkey get up, but it's going to be a few hours. So I may even go play some more Ghost Game, because that game is fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for being you. I will be on Lords of the Night tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time over on Satsu's channel. Otherwise, watch Twitter to find out where I am. All links are below. As always, Nuts, thank you so much for dropping the Streamlabs link. You are a wonderful, wonderful soul. Everybody, have a nice night. I'll see you next time. Monkey's voice is